Ngai Mob, here to talk about how we can make better balanced choices. Now, depending on what age you're at and where you're at in your life, like what is your starting point right now, will determine what availability of choice you have in terms of being able to make choices for yourself. Now, if you're a young person, you might still be living at home. You might be living with a family member, or you might be living in care or supported resi, and that can limit the amount of responsibility that you have to make your own decisions. But it's never too early to learn about personal responsibility, the responsibility that I know that the decisions and the choices that I make in my life and the actions I take, if there's consequences for that, both positive and negative, I need to be able to be responsible for that. And that could be as simple as going, I don't feel like going to school today, but I'm choosing to go to school and to show up and learn, because I know that when I'm older, I want to be able to get a job. I want to be able to support my family, or I want to be able to travel, or whatever it is that you want to be able to do in the future. The choices you make now to show up to school and do the things that you find hard will later on allow you to do the things that you want to be able to do. Now, when it comes to making choices, there's a few different things that you can do. You can find a mentor to talk to, and someone that you trust that might be a little bit older than you or has been through something that you've been through. And before you make a choice, or when you're thinking about who you're being and what kind of life you want to have, finding a mentor is really powerful, because they can listen to you. They can hear you about what are the decisions you've got to make in front of you, what are the things you want to be able to do, and what are the challenges that you're facing. And they can talk you through that process. They can sometimes give you options, or they can give you a different way of looking at things that you might not have been able to see for yourself, and they can make suggestions. The other thing is that you can write down what's really important to you. Like, what do you value the most above anything else? And if that's what's important to you, then you can write down what are the choices you need to make to be able to do those things well, or have those things, or those people in your life, or be that type of person. And it can also be important to write down the type of things that we don't want to have in our lives. What are the barriers in place that stop us from making good choices? Is it your friendship group? Is it that you don't feel supported at school? Is it that you haven't learnt enough about yourself to understand who you are and what it is? Is it that you don't have the money that you need to make the choices to go where you want to go? So understanding what are the choices that you want to make, and then what are the potential barriers in place to those decisions, can help you make a plan on how to empower yourself and put yourself in a situation where you're able to make those choices. Journaling is a really good way as well to understand, keeping a journal for a month to understand your life experience in the day. How's your energy levels? How are you feeling? What are your thoughts that you're having? And then that can sometimes give us a picture of where we're at and whether we like where we're at, and understanding where we're going to go. So sometimes looking at the choices we're making today, where could that lead me in a year's time? If I'm still doing this thing every day for a year, for 365 days, what kind of results am I going to get? What kind of experiences am I going to get? What kind of person am I going to be? So by looking at the choices we make today, we can get a better picture of where we're going to end up. And if that's not somewhere where we want to be, we have the power to change our mind and to change our behavior and our choices. Now, that's not always as easy as other people make it out to be, but there's ways to do it. There's support out there. And that's what this program is about. It's about introducing you to these new ideas. And sometimes another way to make balanced choices is to get some training. Google some stuff, have a look at other people's videos. You can read books. There's YouTube courses. There's organizations like the Foundation for Young Australians. There's the Koori Youth Council. And it can mean sometimes looking for new friendship circles or looking for someone that you want to learn from. So making new relationships is another one. I think those are some really good starting points for information on how to make better choices. As an example, for my financial literacy and my nutrition, with financial literacy, I got some financial coaching, which was available through my local Aboriginal services. I contacted the Australian Department of the Taxation Office, and I explained my situation to them, and they provided me with some advice and some easy steps to take. And I also got a business mentor. So those were the steps that I took to acknowledge that I wasn't making the best choices with my finances, and I didn't want to get into trouble again. So I put those things in place to learn from people who could also help me develop a plan as to what are the next actions and choices I'm going to make. With my nutrition, I kept a food diary for 2 weeks, and I went even deeper than just a food diary. I looked at what was my energy level when I was waking up, what was the mood I was waking up in, and what was my mood and energy levels at lunchtime, and what was my mood and energy at nighttime. And I started to track not just what I ate, but what I was feeling when I was eating, and how I was feeling would determine what types of food I would reach for. And I even tracked my hydration levels, so how much water or liquid I was drinking. And after 2 weeks, I got a better understanding of what was impacting my energy and what wasn't. And then I took that information to my doctor and my coach. So my coach referred me to a sports nutritionist who could help me map out the foods that would help fuel my body. And it wasn't about that I couldn't eat ice cream or chocolate or still have the things that I wanted. It was about how I was having those things and where I was having them in the week and in my diet that dictated the way my body responded. And then the energy levels I had and the emotions that I had impacted on the things that I could get done in the day and how I would show up in my relationship with my kids, to my job, to my business, and to my training. And then I went to the doctor and I got some blood tests done. I got a full health check done, and I could take that to my nutritionist. And by having a holistic approach to this and looking for the help that I needed, I was able to get a plan for both those areas to start to create change. So I wish you all the best in understanding the choices you're making and in your journey to make better, more empowering, balanced choices that will empower you to become the person that you want to become and move towards creating the life you want to have.